Hey, good evening, guys. Welcome to day 17 of this vlog project. And it took me a minute to hit record here because I wasn't quite sure what subject I wanted to cover tonight. The last couple of days, I've been going pretty hard on the economics, the big government sucks topic, and I think while I enjoy that subject maybe a little too much and those concepts, I think that discussing those topics for me is kind of like a little bit of public mental exercise. And what was great about it, especially in the realm of posting it on different social media platforms where there's a little bit more of an immediate feedback loop, was the idea that if I wanted to put out kind of a provocative headline about something that I do believe about any of these public programs or government agencies or anything like that, I can make kind of a bold statement and then get a lot of commentary from people that think the same way I do, but then from a lot of people who think completely different than me, which anyone who knows me knows that I enjoy a healthy, long-winded debate. And so that's fun for me, and I like to stir the pot a little bit and then get on the comment section, argue with people, and shoot back and forth and debate and cite sources and look up reasons that I think I'm right. And so believe me, there is no shortage of satisfaction for me to go through those motions. But I also think that there's what is something that regenerates, like the golden goose that lays the egg, something like that. Like, you don't want to go to the well too often. You don't want to beat the same drum all the time. And I figured I have a pretty simple philosophy about this sort of general thing that has been maybe formulated over the last couple of years, which is pretty simple. Government sucks, and prosperity is thanks to individuals having freedom to choose the way in which they decide to pursue their own interest. And the rest is sort of details, I think. And so in the hopes to maybe set that aside, at least for tonight, and maybe talk about something a little bit more lighthearted or a little bit more positive, I figured, what the heck, let's switch it up a little bit. And the couple of topics that came to mind would be either A, kind of the weightlifting notion, or the idea of saving money and making good choices. And so these both being kind of more positive talking points, as opposed to the idea of just bashing on the government and the government sucks and taxes suck and all that, because it's absolutely true. But hey, maybe it's worth taking a breath on that every once in a while. So the first thing that I wanted to maybe recap is today was my third workout doing the Mike Menser high intensity weightlifting program. And gotta say, so today was legs. The program is, the first workout is chest and back, then it's legs, then it's arms and shoulders, and then back to legs and abs. And so I started on the second workout, which this is probably an unnecessarily in-depth, amount of detail to go into. But when I started the program, I had recently just hit chest and back, one day after the other, and then was going to start the program a few days later. So I figured, all right, I'll start on the second workout, which is legs and abs. So now I just completed my second legs and abs workout today, which had some highlight moments and some low light moments. The highlight which was awesome, was there. It's only a couple of exercises and you just do one set and you do it to failure. So it's a pretty quick workout. But one of the exercises is standing calf raises, and taking standing calf raises to failure, which I haven't done many calf raises pretty much at all in my life, is excruciatingly painful. I mean, the amount of pain just in the calf muscles, and then it shoots up the back of your legs. I thought my calf muscles were going to fall out of my legs. Like, I thought I was just going to seize up under this machine, and was at risk for maybe injury. So that was a highlight, because I felt like I really pushed it and felt like I got pretty darn close to that muscular failure. And so it felt productive and felt like I really got to the spirit of what he's driving at. The part of the workouts that I was maybe a little disappointed in was the first superset is a leg extension immediately followed up by a leg press. And the first time that I did it, I think I've picked the wrong weight for the leg press 2 times in a row now, which was maybe a little frustrating, because both times I've gotten up in the range of like 30 reps with the leg press, which you're supposed to be in a 12 to 20 rep range, which means I went too light. But once you get going, it's kind of like, do I switch midstream? And then, it starts to really hurt, but you go, man, am I really going to fail at this weight? So all that being said, I may have shortchanged myself a little bit on the leg presses, which is a little disappointing, but it just means I need to go higher in weight next time. And I did do a significant jump from the last one. So, hey, your boy just has strong legs. So who can be mad at that? And the other portion was abs. So I was doing the ab crunch exercise where you're on like the decline bench and you hook your legs in, and then I put a dumbbell on my chest and did sit-ups like that. And both times now that I've done it, I'm like, did I have maybe another rep in me? Should I have gone a little heavier? So room for improvement in 66% of my workout, but a solid work put in 25% of the workout, or 30%, which would be the calf raises. So anyhow, just wanted to throw that out there for whatever reason, to, again, hit on something on a little bit of a lighter note. I'm enjoying the idea of kind of this weight training program. I feel like his mentality has helped me a lot, because in recent months, maybe I've tried to, really start drumming up some different things. Hey, getting back into weightlifting, sticking to my jiu-jitsu, starting to read different intellectual things that, to expand my brain. And it's easy to maybe start to get a little scatterbrains, and then, maybe not get traction in any, one of these different areas, because you kind of run in one direction and run in the other. And I think what was super helpful about his program is it's kind of a less is more type of program. You really only end up working out lifting weights 2 days a week. And so it makes it really easy, because then I can just put it in the calendar, kind of forget about it. And I don't have to, every day or every morning be contemplating, okay, should I be hitting the gym day? I'm not sure, or whatever. But I know, hey, if I'm putting in productive work, then I need to take the appropriate amount of rest. So it's taken a bit of the pressure off and allowed me to kind of really just be systematic about that endeavor, which then I felt like in a way has taken off the pressure in some other areas, like, say jiu-jitsu. Some nights I'm like totally on the fence of whether or not I should go. Do I want to get in and train some? And, at the end of the day, if I'm training a couple times, 2 to 3 times a week, then I'll, continue to be able to practice this hobby and, and get better over the long haul. And if I'm doing some study outside of it, doing like the John Danaher videos, well, then I should be able to continue to, add tools to the tool belt. And so like on a day like today, I worked out in the morning and I worked out in the field all day, and I thought, you know what, there's other things, you know, there's a couple of books I got going I'm excited about. I want to get home and read them. So no gym for me tonight. I ended up kind of working late because I had to cram in some administrative duties after working in the field. So all those things being said, I didn't feel any pressure. I figured, hey, I'm going to be at the gym tomorrow. I want to give my body time to rest, to, you know, put on some of the gains that I stimulated today. So now I don't feel bad about not going to the gym. So all that being said, another random topic I was considering mentioning today was one that's near and dear to my mother's heart, which is the Dave Ramsey program and the get out of debt, stay out of debt, save for retirement, save for a rainy day program. Again, in the light of, you know, just talking about things a little bit more lighthearted, productive, and hopefully, you know, valuable and interesting to people, and not just enraging, right? Because when you're talking politics and government, it's just like, how did I never know this? And there's nothing I can do about it. But meanwhile, if you share information that you've gathered that does make a tangible difference, well, hey, now you're moving the needle. Now you're giving people tools to succeed. So, you know, let's rattle off the Dave Ramsey program. So number one is save $1,000. That's your baby emergency fund. Step two is to get out of debt in his snowball method. You start with the smallest debt, pay it off, and then snowball those, and you're making minimum payments on the rest of your debts. And then you snowball that into the next one, and then in the next one, and so it grows the amount that you're putting towards each debt that you have. And then once you complete that, step three is to save up an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months. Step 4, 5, and 6 is, okay, let's see, I think 4 might be save 15% of your income towards retirement. 5 is going to be 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? So 5 is going to be save for kids' college fund. 6 is to pay off the house, and then 7 is kind of the nirvana. It's you just build wealth and be extremely generous. So I had the profound advantage, or the great fortune, of having a mother who was practicing this program when I was at a moldable or pivotal point in my life. And I think I've always been kind of a little bit of a money guy or money kid or a numbers person. You know, when I was young, if I ever worked for my dad or did a little job here or there, earned any little bit of cash, I had this weird kind of hoarding mentality, this kind of knack where, you know, if I worked a week in the summer and made $100 or $300 or something like that, I'd stash it like in a shoebox or in a drawer in my room, and I would not touch it. I'd only pull it out if I really needed to buy something. And so I would, you know, make this $100 or $300 last over 6 months or a year. And you know, there's been specific memories where, you know, something kind of came up and it was like I needed to fork up some cash, and I was like, all right, 1 second. I ran into my room and I had some cash, and everyone looked at me like, where did you get that from? And it's kind of like, oh, it was from the thing I did 8-10 months ago, whatever it was. So I've always had a little bit of a knack for kind of hoarding money, I guess you could say. And so those concepts weren't necessarily foreign or counterintuitive to me. But all that being said, really adhering to that rigid program, or really making those principles concrete was totally the doing of my mom. Again, having gone through this program, and she got out of debt, went from not being great with some of these different aspects of money that trip a lot of people up in today's society, to really reining it in, working super hard, tripling her income, paying off a massive amount of debt, you know, becoming really literate and great at handling money, was right around the time I was like graduating from high school and heading into college. And so that was a great visual as a young person to get to see that process. And so it made a profound effect on me, and it made some of those things kind of non-negotiable, like, you know, not, at least in my personal life, not borrowing money, not doing certain things. And one sec, let me take a drink of water. And you know, I don't know if I think I'm getting a bit off track. I was just sort of free flowing there, maybe giving a bit of background. But I think ultimately some of these principles are kind of timeless principles, and they show up in different places, not just in the Ramsey program. But the idea of living below your means, you know, spending less than you earn, is really the main concept. Oh, I know one thing what I was going to say was, of the 6-step program, one step of it that I sort of question, or one that if I ever got to meet and chit chat with Dave, that I would ask, is about one of the steps that he puts in there, which is saving for your kids' college. And I want to know or ask him why he includes that. Because as far as the stages of building wealth, and even generational wealth, you know, I get it, getting out of debt, emergency fund, investing, paying off the house, like all, and then once you're debt free of everything and you have a good income, now you're just building wealth. All of that computes to me. But the saving for your kids' college, to me, I guess maybe I have a bit of an ideological block on this one, because it just assumes that that is something valuable enough to prioritize as a fundamental principle of building wealth. And while, you know, I think it's a great thing to set your kids up for success, to give them the values and the habits and the principles and the tools and the framework and all these things to live and build a successful life. To me, subsidizing 100% guaranteeing subsidizing their quote unquote higher education, I don't know if I'm convinced that it is a self-evident or non-negotiable part of that process. To me, a part of I would assume his story, well, I guess I can't say for sure. I would assume he kind of worked his way and paid his way through college, right? So being a self-made guy, a self-made man, there's some value to that, for one. And as a second point, you know, some might argue that the value of college or university or a higher education, that the value of that has diminished over time, right? So to just, I won't say blindly, but to make the assumption that that's the direction that you would want to send your kids in, I don't know. And I'm sure I would guess that he uses it interchangeably for like professional training, right? So, you know, not necessarily a 4-year degree, but hey, if they wanted to go into vocational training or some sales certificate program, I mean, I'm sure he just means more of like saving for, you know, education and training for your kids, and it may take different shapes or sizes. But again, I think just the fundamental principle of, do you really want to give them anything? And I've gone back and forth on this, however, I do like the one concept that he throws out when people call him and ask about kid stuff is, one of them is buying a car. And actually, my lady and I had a real strong disagreement about this as we were talking about, you know, what we're going to do for our imaginary not yet born kids, and the debate of whether or not to buy them a car had come up in the past. And we would argue, and she would say, well, we'll buy them a car so they can get from A to Z and be safe and all these things. And I said, we're not buying our kids anything. I never got anything growing up. No offense, Mom. I'm obviously exaggerating. Of course, I got lots of wonderful things growing up. I had a blessed childhood. But hey, no one gave me a car. I will say I did get to borrow the family car every once in a while, right? So you might call me spoiled. But, you know, I was maybe starting to double down in these arguments on the idea of, hey, I'm not giving my kids anything. If they want it, they can work for it, etc., etc. And one phone call I heard on Dave Ramsey's radio show is a dad called in asking about this similar concept. And he said what he did with his kids was the quote 401 Dave, right? So he said every dollar that they save and are able to put towards a car when they're 16, he'll match that dollar for dollar. So if they save up $3,000, he'll match them $3,000. They get a $6,000 car. So I kind of liked this idea, again, just from the vantage point of, hey, you still want to take care of your kids and let them enjoy the luxuries of the first world, but you also don't want to spoil them rotten and just hand them things that they're just gonna not appreciate the value for whatsoever, right? So I guess maybe still to be determined on that, but I guess Dave, if I ever get to meet you and pick your brain, I'd want to know your thoughts on the whole saving for college thing. Is that something that, you know, you still fully truly believe in, or is it something that has maybe just been a fixture of your program over time, and hey, there's, you know, it's not wrong, you know, yet, so there's no point in changing it? I'd love to know the answer to that one. So all right, here we are at 22 and a half minutes. I have once again found a way to turn not having a subject for the night into a very long-winded hop, skip, and a jump between different subjects. And so once again, I appreciate anyone who has tuned in, and I'm, you know, continue to be grateful for the life that I live and the luxuries that I get to enjoy, and, you know, look forward to challenges in the future to keep growing and keep striving and creating a bigger and better life. So for anyone tuning in, thanks. Hope you're feeling the same way. Hope you're feeling fired up about having a productive summer. And with that, I'll leave you guys. Have a good evening, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.